Did Jungkook really change? And why are fans only noticing it now? What happened in that one moment that made everything feel different forever? Stay until the end and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as we explore a shift that no one can fully explain, yet everyone can feel. What if the moment you thought was just another moment was actually the beginning of something that would never be the same again? What if the change didn't happen all at once, but slowly, quietly, until one day everyone noticed it at the same time? And what if that realization that something had changed forever was not something you could explain, but something you could feel? Before you scroll away, ask yourself honestly, when did you first feel it? Not see it, not analyze it, but feel it. Because the shift surrounding Jungkook did not arrive with a clear announcement or a dramatic turning point. It appeared in fragments, in subtle moments, in quiet changes that seemed insignificant at first, until they weren't. At the beginning, everything felt familiar. The same presence, the same energy, the same connection that people had come to recognize over time. There was no obvious difference, nothing that stood out enough to be questioned. If anything, it all seemed consistent, predictable in the way familiarity often is. But then something began to shift. Not loudly, not suddenly, but gradually. So gradually that it almost went unnoticed. A slight change in expression, a different kind of stillness, a presence that felt just a little more distant or perhaps more focused, something that couldn't be easily defined but could be quietly felt. And for a while it remained just that. A feeling, unconfirmed, unspoken, something that existed in the background, not strong enough to demand attention, but persistent enough to linger. Until one moment changed everything. Not because the moment itself was extraordinary, but because it made the change visible in a way that could no longer be ignored. It was as if all the subtle shifts that had been building over time suddenly aligned, creating a realization that felt both new and strangely familiar. That was the moment fans began to notice. The moment the question shifted from "is something different" to "something has changed." And once that realization took hold, it spread. Not through explanation, but through recognition. Because when enough people feel the same thing, even without words, it becomes something real. It becomes something that exists beyond individual perception. Something that lives in the shared experience of those who have noticed it. There is something powerful about that kind of realization, because it doesn't rely on evidence in the traditional sense. It doesn't require clear proof or defined reasoning. It exists in the way something feels, in the way perception changes without needing to fully understand why. And that is exactly what happened here. The change was not explained, but it was felt. And that feeling became impossible to ignore. There is also an emotional layer that continues to grow alongside this awareness. Because recognizing change in someone you have watched for so long is not neutral. It carries weight. It creates a sense of reflection, a need to understand what has shifted and why. Is it growth? Is it experience? Is it something deeper that has not been openly expressed? These questions do not come with clear answers, but they remain, and their presence is enough to keep the conversation alive. Because the more people think about it, the more they realize that the change is not confined to a single moment. It is something that exists across time, across different appearances, across different contexts. It is consistent, subtle but consistent, and that consistency is what makes it real. Because coincidence fades, but consistency stays. There is also a growing understanding that this change may not be something new, but something that has been developing quietly for a long time. Something that has reached a point where it can no longer remain unnoticed. And that realization adds depth to the story, because it suggests that what people are seeing now is not the beginning, but the result. A reflection of something internal that has taken shape over time, now becoming visible in ways that cannot be easily hidden. And when internal change becomes external, even subtly, it changes everything. It changes how moments are perceived, how expressions are interpreted, how presence is experienced. And once that shift happens, there is no going back to seeing things the same way. This is why the moment feels so significant. Not because it introduced something new, but because it revealed something that was already there. Something that had been building. Something that had been waiting to be noticed. And now that it has been noticed, it cannot be unseen. There is also a sense of quiet acceptance beginning to form within this realization. The understanding that change is a natural part of growth, that evolution is inevitable, that what remains constant is not the absence of change, but the way it is experienced. And perhaps that is what makes this moment so powerful. Not the fact that something changed, but the fact that people recognized it, that they felt it, that they connected to it in a way that goes beyond explanation. Because at the center of all of this is not just a moment, but a person continuing to move forward, continuing to evolve, continuing to exist in a way that reflects everything that has been experienced along the way. And that is something that cannot be simplified. It cannot be reduced to a single reason or a single explanation. It exists in layers, in complexity, in the quiet details that reveal themselves over time. So as this awareness continues to grow, the question remains, but it evolves. Not just what changed, but what does that change mean? Does it mark a new phase? Does it reflect something deeper? Or is it simply a reminder that nothing remains exactly the same forever? There may never be a single answer. And maybe there doesn't need to be. Because sometimes the most meaningful moments are not the ones that are fully understood, but the ones that change how we see everything moving forward. And this feels like one of those moments. A moment that did not demand attention but earned it. A moment that did not explain itself but made itself felt. A moment that marked a shift, not just in perception but in understanding. So if you have felt it too, if you have noticed that quiet difference that now feels impossible to ignore, then you are part of this story. Not because you have all the answers, but because you recognize the change. And sometimes that recognition is what changes everything. And as that recognition continues to deepen, something even more profound begins to take shape. The realization that the change people are noticing is not just about what can be seen, but about what can be sensed beneath the surface. Because when perception shifts this way, it does not stay confined to one moment or one expression. It spreads across everything, influencing how each new appearance of Jungkook is understood. There is a quiet transformation in how people are watching now. They are no longer just observing. They are interpreting. Every movement feels slightly more meaningful. Every pause seems to carry more weight. Every expression is examined not just for what it shows, but for what it might reveal. And within that heightened awareness, even the smallest differences begin to stand out in ways they never did before. It is almost as if the moment that sparked this realization has changed the lens through which everything else is seen. What once felt familiar now feels layered. What once felt simple now feels complex. And what once passed without question now invites reflection. This is where the emotional depth of the story becomes even more apparent. Because recognizing change is not just about noticing differences, it is about confronting the idea that time has passed, that growth has happened, that something internal may have shifted in ways that are not fully visible but still deeply present. And that realization carries a quiet intensity, not overwhelming but undeniable. It creates a sense of closeness, as if people are witnessing something real, something human, something that cannot be staged or fully controlled.